Welcome to day 2 of my COVID-19 quarantine code review, where I use my time in social isolation to review and improve one of the apps I built when I was learning to code 2 years ago. We're continuing a review of this Minesweeper app here. It is available at minesweeper.zachlawton.dev. Yesterday, on day 1, we changed all the strings in the code to template literals to make them easier to parse and read through. Today, I'm going to go through all the JavaScript and get rid of the jQuery. Now, jQuery is something that you may be familiar with or may have heard of if you're just starting to code, and it is essentially a library that takes a lot of JavaScript and makes it easier. It added functionality to JavaScript that wasn't there in earlier days and made it easier to do some commonly used functions. Now, JavaScript in recent years, really particularly over the past 5 years, has gained a lot of the functionality that jQuery looked to fill and is no longer needed. And you don't see a lot of new apps or developers reaching for jQuery in new apps. So when I look back at this app and I see jQuery in it, it leaves a little bit of a bad code smell for me, and I just kind of want to clean it up, remove all the jQuery, and replace it with the native JavaScript that can handle what jQuery used to handle just fine. So let's take a look at the code here. If I can find it. There we go. So if you'll remember from the previous days when I did an overview of the code, we have 3 files. We've got the HTML file, CSS, and JavaScript. We don't need to worry about the CSS here. We're going to spend most of our time in JavaScript. But first, I kind of want to show you how jQuery is pulled in here. You'll see in the HTML head, we have a place where we are pulling in this script. And this link here is basically a link to a CND or CDN, Content Delivery Network, where we can pull all the jQuery functions from. We can even command click. Yeah, I trust that URL. Let's go to it. Let's see what's up. So if we go to that URL, you'll see it's the same URL that's in the code. It looks like it's hard to read because it's not formatted pretty, but it's basically a bunch of method declarations of things that are included in jQuery. And when that gets pulled into the code here, it can be used by any scripts on the page, including this script here, which is our main JavaScript script. So let's hop over to our JavaScript. All right, here we are, and this JavaScript file has access to all the jQuery that's pulled in the HTML file. And typically, if you see a $ parentheses or like a $ period, that is jQuery. A $ is kind of an alias for jQuery to use the methods. Particularly if you see like $ parentheses and then some sort of identifier, that is something that is a selector that selects something from the DOM or from the page in the HTML. So if you look here, for instance, there's a hash sign pixel canvas. This is basically saying, hey, select anything with the ID of pixel canvas. And we can actually pull this over here and take a look. If we right click and inspect the form, we can see, yeah, there it is. So this input has an ID of input height. So that is what this is selecting right here. We say look for an ID of input height, assign it to input height. Same thing with this input width here, saying, hey, find anything with an ID of input width. That's what the little hash sign looks like, input width, and assign it to a variable input width. And I don't remember exactly what I do with these later in the code, but I'm sure it's to say, to look at the value that's inside. So I can say, hey, what value is inside the input width? It's an 8. And then we can mess with that later in the code here. Similarly, if we wanted to pick a class, we could change this to a period. Or if we wanted to just find like a certain type of tag, like a div, we could just type div there. But we're not. We are looking for these IDs. Command Z, undo. There we go. All right, back to where we were. So what I want to do is start going through and taking out these jQuery methods because they can just be done without the jQuery to begin with. And what I would like to do eventually, the end goal here, if I can get my computer to work, there we go. The end goal here would be to be able to go, my mouse is not moving. All right, there we go. To be able to go into index.html and completely remove this line, just take it out. But we can't do that yet because our app relies on it. So let's keep that there and let's start the removal. So as I said before, you'll see anything that has the $ parentheses is going to be jQuery. So we can do a search in our code for it. We see with $ parentheses, we see we have 35 things that we need to change here, 35 jQuery instances. Another thing it could also be is a $ period. It looks like we have 7 of those, so 35 plus 7, there's probably a total of 42 things. Now, what I could do is I could kind of search this and then search the other one and go through them one by one. I'm going to put in some regex that basically searches for both. Don't need to worry about the regex right now. All you need to know is that what I'm about to type in finds either $ period or $ parentheses. So I'm going to turn on regex here. And let's type this in real quick. We do \$. We are going to do brackets to say include anything within these brackets. We're going to do \period to say include a period, or \parentheses to include a parentheses. I don't want to dive into this too much because regex can be something that can get complicated to dive into. I love it. I would love to dive into it. Maybe I'll do a video on it one day. But I have put up a quick example. You can play around it yourself on regexer.com. Great regex reference. For example, if we put up the regex that we put in the code here, you can see a quick overview of what it's doing. So this is matching a $, and then anything in the brackets is saying, hey, match anything within the brackets. This means match a period. This means match a parentheses. So we're saying start with a $, and then match either a period or a parentheses. And you can see below it matches $ parentheses and $ period. And that is how we are going to find all the instances of jQuery in the code. If you hate regex, don't worry, that's the last time I'm going to talk about it for this video. I'll leave a link to regexer in the description below too, so feel free to check that out. It is a great tool. All right, so we are in our code and we see that we have 42 matches, 42 instances of jQuery that we need to change to native JavaScript. When I first started thinking about doing this, what I wanted to do is just go line by line, change everything. But I realized that would be an issue because when you assign a jQuery, when you assign basically a jQuery element to a variable, that is treated as a jQuery element that you can run jQuery methods on. For example, here we have Pixel Canvas, and I assign that to Pixel Canvas. Now I could start going through and changing all the jQuery I find line by line, but if we look for all the places that Pixel Canvas is used, then we might get down here to line 234, and it says pixelcanvas.html, and .html is a jQuery method. So if we started up here and said, okay, we're going to make this not jQuery, it's just going to be regular JavaScript HTML DOM native code, then by the time we get down to this part here, by the way, control -sign to hop to your last cursor spot, very useful. But by the time we get down here, it's going to say, hey, pixelcanvas.html. I don't know what .html is, because Pixel Canvas isn't a jQuery element. You changed it up on line 1, so what does this .html mean? And so instead, what I am going to start with is, and I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm going to have to try to time box myself because I can go on. And hopefully this will be, I can get this all done in one video, but there might be a part 1 and part 2 depending on how long it takes. And actually, before I get to the action here of starting to change these things, what I want to show you a tool, and it's a tool I'm actually going to be using throughout this video, because I've been doing a lot of coding in React throughout my professional career so far, And in React, a lot of the methods for DOM traversal and basically picking out parts of the web page and inserting and removing and things like that, a lot of that is handled for you in libraries and frameworks such as React. So I honestly have forgotten a lot of the basics of how to just pick parts of a web page out using JavaScript, and I'm honestly, embarrassingly, a little rusty on it. So what we're going to do, luckily I'm not the only one, there are lots of people that kind of have trouble with that, but there is a movement to get jQuery out of a lot of apps, and a lot of people feel passionate about it enough to give you resources online. And if you search, you don't need jQuery, there is a lot of great resources. You might not need jQuery is a good one. It's a search engine, but it's not quite complete. I find this one to be the best here. You don't need jQuery. And it's basically just a giant repository of jQuery methods and their native JavaScript equivalents. Which is great. It's a good reference for going through and making sure and changing your jQuery over. So I'm going to be using this throughout to make our changes here. So let's start with pixel canvas. We're going to change this variable, and then we will change pixel canvas throughout the code. So as I said, this is basically a selector. It's saying select pixel canvas, and a couple options here. We can even see on the page here, a query selector is the same as doing document.querySelectorAll. Or if we wanted, we could do just an ID where we say query selector and we select just one ID, or we can say get element by ID. I'm going to do get element by ID here because it has a bit of a performance benefit to it over doing query selector. Query selector is nice because it lets you just put anything in here, whether it's a class or an ID or a tag. Very similar to jQuery's just $, where you can put anything in you want. This is actually one of those methods that didn't used to exist, and jQuery tried to fix for, but now it does. But I'm going to use getElement by ID because it has some performance benefits that don't really matter. Honestly, this is a pretty small app, and it's not going to be lagging by any sort of minor performance things like that. But I know it's faster, so why not? We'll just put it in there. Makes the code a little more explicit. So let's do that. VS Code. All right. So we are going to say pixel canvas equals document.get elements by ID. That's what we want. Perfect. Pixel canvas. Perfect. And let's find the other instances of pixel canvas and make sure that those are replaced. Pixel canvas. All right, so here we see there's a $sign jQuery and it's saying insert after pixel canvas. So we want to know what the equivalent of doing this insert after is. So I'm going to hop over to the you don't need jQuery and say insert after. And we can see here, they got a couple options here of you can do a HTML string or an element. And you can see here that we have an HTML string. Come on. No, that's not what I want. Alright, so what it's saying is we have a new element, insert after selector, and this is saying we're going to take the element and use insert adjacent HTML, and then after end. I know that is something that basically says it's a it is a way to say where you want to insert the adjacent HTML on the insert adjacent HTML method, and then we're going to put in as the second argument what we want to insert. So let's do it. Alright, so we know we want to do pixel canvas, so let's just comment this out here and see if we can rewrite it. Alright, so let's say pixel canvas dot insert adjacent HTML, perfect, after end, and we want to insert this string right here. So let's cut that out and put that there. Perfect. And that should be what we want. Pixel canvas.html. Okay, perfect. So that should do what we want. Now there is one more pixel canvas. If you remember, there's 4 of them. 2 of them were in this just variable declaration, and the 2 are down here. We've already changed this one. Last pixel canvas is the .html. Let's go see what the .html does here. .html. All right, so looks like the jQuery HTML will get the HTML if it doesn't have an argument, or if it does have an argument, you are setting the HTML. You're basically replacing what the inner HTML is, and that looks simple enough. Looks like instead of saying l.html pass in an argument, we are saying just element.inner.html equals the new inner HTML. So let's try that out. So we're going to say pixel canvas dot inner HTML equals grid. Okay, perfect. So that should be everything. Let's check now. Save. Prettier automatically did some new things. If you don't have Prettier installed in VS Code, I recommend it. Auto format some of the code without affecting how the code works at all. I'm going to open up the file since we just made some changes. That it should everything should still work the same. Let's try it out here. And here we are, and we're changing pixel canvas. So hopefully, once we click new game here, the pixel canvas will show up normally. Uh-oh, it's not. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to open up my DevTools here and see if I'm getting any sort of errors. And I am. Let's see, we're getting type error, cannot read insert adjacent HTML of null. Okay, so we put insert adjacent HTML here, and it's saying that pixel canvas is null. No, it's not, you liar. We set it at the top, I remember. Okay, so let's double check here. Pixel canvas, and we can even command click it, and we can see that it is picking up there. Okay, so that must mean that document.getElementById pixel canvas is not picking up what I want it to. All right, so let's try it out. Let's take this code. Let's put it in the DevTools. I said copy. I'm going to copy this command, and we can just try to run it right on the page here. Sure enough, that is null. Why is that null? Inspect body. No, there should be something with an ID of pixel canvas there. Even though it's empty. Did I get element by ID? Document.getElement. Document.getElement by ID. You know what? I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, I know why it's doing that. So what I did here is I said get element by ID, and I used the hash pixel canvas. Now, what we actually want to do is document dot get element by ID, and just do pixel canvas. There it is. So this hash here is what you want to use when you're using query selector. So if we said document query selector, and we did pixel canvas, that tells the query selector whether it's an ID or or if we did a period, it would be a class, or if we left it off, it would be a tag. But since we're saying in the method name that we want to get by element ID, we don't include that, and we just want just the ID name and not that identifier at the beginning that says it's an ID. So that was the mistake there. So let's change it in the code. Get element by ID pixel canvas. Now everything is going to work perfectly. All right, here we go. Refresh the page. Now new game. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Everything's working great. All right, next one. We're not going to make the same mistake here. Input height, we are going to say, actually we can just copy this sticker there, and we're going to take that out. And that should be there. Let's see how many input heights we have. Oh, only one more. So we can change that. All right, so row count is input height dot val. Let's replace, oh, don't do that. Let's replace the dot val with the native JavaScript. So what is dot val in jQuery? Dot val is the same as saying identifier dot value. Well, that makes sense. So, oh, that's gonna be easy. We're gonna change both of these at the same time, the input height and the input width. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. All right, get element by ID, input width, take out that hash sign. I'm really tempted to say hashtag every time, but I know that's not right, and some people are gonna cringe if I do that, so I'm not saying hashtag. I didn't say hashtag. Remember that is something I did not say. All right, so cool, that should be there. We say input width. We want to change both of these to value. Value. And value. Bam, save. Let's hop back over to Minesweeper. Nope, that is the website. We're going to want to go make sure we're in the one that is the local file that we are editing the JavaScript for. I'm going to refresh the page, and let's make sure that this works. Cool, so we just changed the values for the input value, so let's make sure that it's working right. We have an 8x8 field, so that's good. Let's try to move it down to a 5x5 field. Make sure that yep, cool, still working. Awesome, so we have now changed all of these variables up at the top here, and my mouse is just not being happy. It's my battery. What am I doing? Cat here. Okay, so we have successfully changed all these at the top. And if we check out, put our regex back in here, we have 38 jQueries left. And the rest of them seem to be standalones and not depending on previous variables, so we should be able to just kind of hop in and change them as we go. So I'm going to just kind of try to do a mass change here before we test anymore, which might not be wonderful, but let's see if we can do it. In array. So right now we're looking at this $in array. In array. So let's search for it here in array. Oh, that makes it easy. Array.includes. $.inArray square ID. Mines. So something I'm concerned about here is it seems to be saying in array mines. I'm hoping that this is just a regular array. There's also a, what's it called? It's like an array of nodes, and that's basically what it's called. It might even be called a node array or a node assortment. That's not what it's called. But when jQuery, when you use a selector to select more than one item in jQuery, it can return basically an array of jQuery elements that is like an array but different in some ways. And I'm not entirely sure how, but I'm hoping that's not what's going on here. And the fact that it's calling mines here. So here's another thing about the code I need to clean up, is that we're calling mines, but mines isn't declared here anywhere, and I'm not sure exactly where mines is there. Okay, so mines is an empty array, so that should be fine. It's just a regular array. It's a global variable, which I don't know, we could probably handle that better. But let's go back here. Okay, so we're taking an array. If it is in an array, okay, yeah, so this doesn't even have to do with the DOM. This is just an array method, and JavaScript has lots of great array methods. I recommend looking them up. Things like, especially the filter and map and reduce are three big ones that will make your JavaScript life a lot easier. Includes is another one, so we're going to make this real easy. If we say $.in array, instead we can say the array mines dot includes item. Perfect. And it looks like we've got another one down here, so I'm going to say array. It's not a very descriptive name. Let's change that in another video. Dot includes element. And let's see if there are any others here in array. Nope, no more in arrays. So that should take care of that. 36 jQueries left to go. Let's keep going. All right, each. That, I bet, could be replaced with an array map. Let's check it out. Dot each. Array for each. Okay, that works. Later we can replace it with an array map for making it a pure function and returning a new array. But again, for another video, it'll be a lot of fun. This seems pretty straightforward. We just do array for each function. Okay, so we're going to take this out. We're going to put it before the dot, and the method is going to be called for each. Let's see if there are any other dot eaches. Oh, there's a few of them. So we're going to say mines dot for each, and then the rest. Cool. How many more? 3 more. Mines. Lots of repetition here. There's probably a good way to make this better, but we're going to have so much time in quarantine that all this code is going to be so perfect, and there's going to be nothing repeated. It'll just be the most beautiful code ever. And then once I can't improve the code anymore, we're just going to make it the most beautiful application and add extra functionality depending on how long this COVID-19 sticks around. Who knows? All right, how many left? 2, oh, each. 4 each. Oh, and I guess we can... I'm going to make this case sensitive, so I'm not looking for... because that'll match 4 each. No, it won't. Okay, 2 left. 2 left. That's right. Okay, 2 left. Forget I said that. All right, and we're going to change this one to... oh, okay, so this will get interesting. It's a selector. You know, we'll just take that out for now. Yeah, I'm not sure if this will work. We'll see. I'm going to say for each. So you see there that we took out the array, but the array was a jQuery selector. So I'm not sure how that will affect things, but we will see. All right, last one. Neighbors dot for each. Perfect. All right, no results. So we have gotten all the eaches out. Put back the jQuery. Only 31 jQuery things left to go. I'm going to save this, though, and I want to test it because we weren't so sure, or I'm not going to blame you for my uncertainty. I wasn't so sure. If we look here, this is the one I was most concerned about, TD, which is a table, a column, I believe? Yeah, column. If we say for each function, what is this a part of? Oh, it's during a win. It's checking a win. Let's make sure the win works, shall we? Let's do it. All right, we're going to refresh. We're going to make sure, let's make it a small field so we can make this quick. Let's see if we can, oh, yep, nope, something's going on. Something's going on. I'm losing no matter what. Let's see if it works if I undo this change here. Use the Git tool here to check what it used to be. And I'm going to replace it with what it used to be. We'll save it, see if it works now. All right. All right, so let's get down to 5 mines. It's not good, people. I have screwed this up. So how have I screwed this up? So if I click it, I lose right away, right? That's not what we want. I can right click, but if I left click, it is dying. So let's see. Ismine seems to be an issue. Ismine return mines includes square ID greater than 0. To me, that feels like something we might be clicking anything. It might just be saying it is a mine. Oh, you know what I bet's going on here? I bet the includes method returns something different. Okay, let's check this out. What did we have before? Array.includes, and it used to be in array. Okay. I bet they return different things, which would be great. Search for a specified value within an array and return its index or -1 if not found. Okay. Return its index. I bet array includes returns a true or false. Let's find out. JavaScript script array includes. Array includes is an inbuilt function that does some stuff. Opening a few different windows here, just have my options. Yes, there it is. Includes method determines whether an array includes a certain value among its entries, returning true or false as appropriate. Okay, so here's what's going on. Before, we had this in array, and it's saying, basically what this is saying is if it's in the array, return a number of its index. So if we have an array of apple, banana, orange, and we say, hey, is orange in the array? That says, yeah, it is. It's at the second index or at the last index, and it returns a 2. Or if it's not in it, it'll return a -1. However, in JavaScript, using array.includes, that returns a true or false. So now, when we look here at isMine function, isMine, my cat's here, by the way, and she likes to interject sometimes. I know it was a dumb mistake. I know. I'm working on it. I'm fixing it, okay? We're basically saying, hey, is true greater than or equal to 0, or is false greater than or equal to 0? And I'm not even sure how that equates. I imagine, if I had to guess, true, I don't know, let's see, true greater than or equal to 0. That is true. And false greater than or equal to 0. True. Okay, so no matter what, you can see here, we are going to be returning true for isMine, and that is where that is coming from. So, to fix this, let's get rid of these console logs. We don't need those anymore. Yeah, I'm fixing it. Like, I'm almost there. You don't need to meow at me. I don't need the sass. Go back to bed. Okay, so what we can do here is... Actually, we don't even need the greater than or equal to. I'm working on it. Like, I'm fixing it. I know I'm taking a lot longer than I will go to bed soon. I promise, okay? Just lay down, go to sleep. I got you some food. It's some fresh food. It's really tasty. Cool, so now we should expect it to work after that long detour trying to fix this. I've saved it. Let's go back to Minesweeper now. Don't need you or you or you. Minesweeper, refresh, try again. Oh, thank goodness. I mean, clearly things are still broken. Well, this shows you the benefit of making small changes and testing afterwards. I got cocky there. I started changing a whole bunch of things, and now things are broken and we don't even know which change broke it. What we should have done is made more incremental changes and tested after each one. That is not what I did. So now we are stuck going back through all my changes and fixing them. So we know that was an issue. We fixed that. Let's move on and see what other things could be broken. All right, so okay, yep, it's oh no, we did that. We fixed that. Okay, and here's another one where we changed from an in array to an includes. And I bet you, yep. Greater than -1. I bet that's another one. We changed from in array to includes, and we are comparing to a number rather than saying is it true or false. So if array includes element, and I think greater than -1, that just means if it's true. So we're just going to remove that, say if it's true. And this is another benefit of not using jQuery too. You can see that other one was a little confusing because you're comparing to a number. If greater than -1, what does that mean? Here, it's kind of easy to see in plain English. Hey, if the array includes this, then do the thing. So that helps. And I think, so that should make it better. Let's save that, refresh, work, but we're still having issues. So let's see what other changes I made here that might be screwing this up. Complete in how it shows everything and what's returned. So I bet if we look at array for each, the values it takes are going to be different. For each element. Yep, element. And you can add the index. Okay, so element should be first. We don't need the index. You can see it's grayed out there, meaning we don't use it. That's what we want. And that also shows, like I just used val. That's not a good variable name. Again, something will change later. Let's take out these console logs. And I know we used a few for eaches in this, so let's make sure we're consistent here. And we set that to val for each. Set that one to val. Is that all of them for each? Nope, one more. I think that's all of them for each. Yep. All right, now I'm going to save it and refresh the page, and everything is going to work perfectly. Are you ready? Ha. Cool. Let's just play a complete game real quick, because that was the original goal like an hour ago. Let's make sure. Oh, let's set a 5x5 grid. Try to win a game here. Nope. Game over works. That's good. Having bad luck here. I just want to win one. There we go. This one's looking good. Perfect. All right. It all works. We're going to save that. We're going to say it's good. We're going to be careful from now on, okay? We are going to make minor changes, and then we're going to test after each one. Maybe not the complete game, but we're just at least going to make sure we can do a single click on the board. You know what? I think this is actually a good stopping point. I said at the beginning of this video that I will stop if it takes too long. Clearly, it's taking too long. It's a little more complex than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I thought I was going to come in here and just be able to look at a reference and swap out the jQuery functions for equivalent JavaScript ones, and it would be nice and easy, but that's not true. I think it's still good that I'm swapping it out. I think it's cleaner and nicer, but the jQuery is so tightly coupled to a lot of these things that it makes it difficult. I think I got it to a good point now where I have some of it swapped out. We are down to 32 out of the original 47. Still a good ways to go. But I guess tomorrow I will be continuing to remove the jQuery. I'll try to be a little better prepared too, so I can, not go through all this weird troubleshooting, which I'll cut out a little bit in the video for you, so you don't have to struggle with me. My cat's staring at me saying that I need to get off the computer and go the fuck to sleep, so I better do that. Anyways, yeah, so stick with me and feel free to leave something in the comments if you have anything that you like or didn't like or that you change or anything you want to nitpick about my code. Feel free, because that is what this series is all about, is nitpicking my code. And I will leave helpful links in the description below, including that regexer, the regexer website, regex playground, a link to the code diff, as well as a link to the Minesweeper game. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and follow the hashtag COVID Days of Code. on Twitter, where I am logging everything I work on during the quarantine. Feel free to also log your own coding work. I think it will be a great community where we can share our work and comment on each other's quarantine coding. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow where we will have a much better time with jQuery. Thank you.